Welcome to A Poor Millionaire with your host, Curtis. Today I had a suggestion for a video for people who are just teenagers who are just about to graduate from high school. What would be advice on how to become a millionaire or how to be successful in life? First place a person should start when starting out in life, let's say you're just graduating from high school, or even before you graduate from high school, is to try to figure out who you are and what you want out of life. And if you want to be a millionaire, well, you can start at any age, really. And you should start as young as humanly possible. And you should set it as a goal. You should always have goals. You should have 6 months goals, 1 year goals, 2 year goals, 3 year goals, 5 year goals, 10 year goals. If you do this and you do it right and you're halfway successful, you should easily be a millionaire by 30. But most people don't decide early enough that they want to be a millionaire. Some people decide at 30 they want to be a millionaire, and then they're a millionaire by 50. The easier it is the earlier you start. And the more you start watching these actual videos on YouTube, the faster you'll be able to get to your goals. Whatever your goals are. Your first goal should be to graduate from high school. That should be your baseline of achievement. It's just a good first achievement to have. Make sure it happens. Make sure that that's done. That way, and you don't necessarily have to go to college, but you absolutely need to have that baseline of high school. Because with a high school diploma, you can go get pretty much just about any starting job. Obviously with college would be better for starting jobs, but it's tougher to get one of those high-paying jobs with a college education. Now, if you're going to go the route of college, I would recommend, now, you have to talk to all the other people in your life, your spouse, your parents, your grandparents, or anybody else who's footing the bill. Let's take the example of Graham Stephan. Graham Stephan didn't go to college. He immediately went into a high-skilled job. He didn't make any money for the first 6 months to a year. He worked his butt off. I'm sure he probably lived at home and barely paid his bills. And he paid his dues, and then he started making money, and then he started making $100,000 a year. And for a 21 year old, for a 19 or 20 year old to make $100,000 a year without any college, zero college debt, that is the ticket. If your main goal is to make money and become a millionaire, the stuff that it requires in sales. One of the things that in like real estate sales is a perfect example of this. It's feast or famine, and that's how business works. And that's how the world works. Is you have as an adult in the world, you're out there making money. There's going to be times when you don't have money. So it teaches you to save money. This is why Graham got ahead so quickly, was because he had a high-paying job that forced him to save money. Because he'd make that big giant $40,000 commission check. But then he knew he might not make money for another year. So he had to save that money. It forced him to save that money if he wanted to keep working. And he wanted that next $40,000 check. So he always knew his last sale could be, or the sale he just made could be the last sale he's going to make for the next 6 months to a year. So he could start, so he had to save that money. Reinforce the idea of savings to him. And that's one of the key ways you're going to become a millionaire, is you've got to be able to save money. You have to be able to live within your means, and you have to produce more than what your expenses are. So my advice to someone who's just graduating or about to graduate, or even younger than that, would be to first figure out what you want out of life. That's step one. And that's the hardest thing to do. And you're always going to have to ask yourself. I constantly ask myself, what do I want out of life? Because it changes. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you're like, okay, I've made enough money. I'm happy. I got a nice house. I got a nice car. I got a nice life. I don't need to be on a super yacht. And plus, I don't want to work 80 hours a week for stuff I just don't need. I mean, how many houses can you live in? How many cars can you drive? You can only drive one car at a time. So why do you need 16 cars? Now, some people are going to want 16 cars. Some people aren't. I want at least 2 nice cars. Well, and I've had, at one time or another, I've had 4 or 5 cars. I think one time I had six cars. I had a couple trucks and a couple cars. So I've had a lot of cars at one time. I think I'm down to like 3 right now, which is really low for me. But all of them I got work trucks and I got a nice SUV. So anyway, you have to figure out in your life, have to constantly ask yourself, what do you want? How hard do you want to work for? That's the other thing. If you got to figure out what you want and how hard you're willing to work for it. And if you want to be a millionaire, you just simply have to put in the time and the effort. And you have to watch the videos, do the learning, read the books on how to become a millionaire. Read Think and Grow Rich. Read The Richest Man in Babylon. Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, not every single one of these books are going to be a play-by-play on how you're going to become rich. What each one of these books is going to do is put you in the mindset of a millionaire. They're going to put the thoughts and the ideas. Even if you just get one idea out of each book, it's going to start building your mindset so that you can become successful later on in life. And this will help you in any endeavor that you want to do. Maybe you don't want it. Maybe you want to be a poor millionaire, which is what I was and which I am currently. And I'm working towards being a rich millionaire. But the first part, obviously, is step by step. First, you have to get that high skill, high paying job. And I would recommend sales. Some people aren't cut out for sales. But if you're not cut out for sales, I still think you could figure out how to make sales work. And if that falls through, then maybe you need to be an engineer, or maybe you need to be a plumber, because there are a lot of plumbers that are millionaires. So if you're not into sales, then you're going to have to do some sort of trade. And trades make a lot of money nowadays, and you can, within a short period of time, within a matter of 6 months to 2 years, you can be making $100,000 in a trade. Easy, like welding, plumbing, or if you want to do the white collar, you do sales. Sales, real estate sales, any kind of sales. Obviously, real estate sales would be best, but the biggest problem with real estate sales is there's so many people in that field. So many people chasing after that same dollar. So and that's one of the things you're going to need. As a young individual, you need to not move out of your parents' house. That's my first recommendation. Because while you're building your business or your sales career, or you're an apprentice and you're not going to make very much money, you have to be willing to work almost for nothing. In fact, as a real estate agent, you will work for nothing. And some sales jobs, the sales jobs where you make the most money, you're going to make nothing to start with. And that's part of the learning process. And you've got to pay your dues. You have to find mentors. And they don't have to necessarily know that they're your mentor. You just show up at your sales job or your sales office. You find the top guy who's making the most money. Make sure that he's making over $100,000 a year. And then you just copy every single thing that he does. He gets it to work at 7 a.m. You get to work at 7 a.m. He leaves at 7 p.m. You leave at 7 p.m. Every single thing that he or she does, you copy exactly. And that's how you succeed. He's your new mentor and he doesn't even know it. And you know what? If you go and you talk nicely to people and you say, hey, I see you're doing really successful. Could you give me a few tips? And if he sees that you're trying or she sees that you're trying, they're going to give you a couple tips on how you can succeed and how you can get ahead. They're going to say, hey, why don't you go try this, and when you get done trying that, come back and talk to me. That's usually how it's going to go, because they're going to want to just get rid of you and until they actually see that you're coming up the ranks. If they see progress, they see that you're learning, they see that you're doing the skills necessary, they're going to say, hey, that's me. That was me 5 years ago. I want to help this guy or this girl out. So suddenly you have a mentor because you've earned it. Because number one, you've got out there and you pound the pavement. You did what you're supposed to do. It's the same thing with welding and plumbing. You're still going to need a mentor in welding and plumbing. Now, a lot of times in the trades, they're going to give you first they're going to teach you. You're going to have to go to school or go to the class or become a journeyman, or you're going to have to do that. But they're going to give you a mentor, basically a person who knows what they're doing, and you're the guy or girl, more than likely guy, that's going out there doing all the crap work. You're digging the ditches and then all the busy work, all the hard work, and then the smart guy, the master plumber, is going to come out there and teach you how to do everything, and you're going to learn from the mentor hands-on. And then eventually you're going to be the master plumber, and then you're going to be making $100,000 a year, and then you can take that money and invest it or start your own plumbing business, and boom, you're a millionaire. Or even just being a plumber making $100,000 a year, if you save the vast majority of that money, you can become a millionaire. But you have to make the decision. What do you want to do? Like, how hard do you want to succeed? Some people, they just want to get out of high school, or some people don't even want to get out of high school. They just want to quit everything and go smoke pot and just be a loser. All right? And that I would highly recommend against. That is a horrible way. I mean, even if you just want a comfortable lifestyle, you should graduate from high school just for a comfortable. I'm just talking a normal house, a normal car. You don't even want to be a millionaire. You need to graduate from high school. You need to get a decent job. Could be sales, plumbing, worst case college. The biggest problems with college is college. You're going to need to pick a high skilled. If you go to college, you're going to need to pick a degree that is going to have some sort of usefulness, like engineering, doctor, lawyer, something that actually, and the biggest problem with that is it's going to take you, a lot of these degrees take you 6 to 8 years to get. And 6 to 8 years, if you look at Graham Stephan, you look at these other people who graduate high school, get a sales job, work their butt off, they don't make money for the first year or 2 years. All right, but then, the third year they make 50, and the fourth year they're making 100. You're making $100,000 within 4 years instantly now, and you have zero debt. You have nothing. All that money is going straight in your pocket. There's no student loans. There's nothing to worry about, and you are making $100,000. And that's just your first year. Obviously, your second year you should be making 110 to 125, and so forth and so on. You're ahead of the game, and you've got, like I said, no student loans. So I know some people out there are going to disagree. They're going to say, hey, college is the greatest thing in the world. Now, if you're just a normal person, has normal aspirations, or you're going to college for fun. I've gone to college and I thought it was fun. I haven't gone to a lot of college, but I've gone to a little bit of college. And when I did go, it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to learn a lot about different stuff. So if your goal is just to go have fun, go to college. If your goal is to make money, then probably don't go to college. Pick a trade. Right now, trades are paying so much money. You can make so much money if you don't want to do sales. But if you do want to do sales, pick a sales job. Make sure in that sales job, like roofing sales, excellent way to make money. Hail damage, excellent way to make money. Real estate is probably one of the best ones. But also, you've got to check your real estate market. And when you get into sales, you never know how long you're going to starve before you start making money. So stay at home. Stay at home while you build your success, your high-skilled trade. And when you get into that trade, when you get into the plumbing, or when you get into the sales, pay attention. Pay attention to everything and have a goal. Say, hey, when you get in that plumbing or you get in that welding, number one, you identify the best welder there. All right? Don't learn from the random guy, Frank, that you like. Learn from the guy who knows what he's doing. Even if he is but more than likely, he's not going to be If you're working your ass off and you're showing him the initiative, he's gonna appreciate that. If he's the best one there, I guarantee you that's something that he can appreciate because he's the best one there. He's gonna appreciate the initiative. He's going to see that you are going to be like him, and he's gonna appreciate that. Find out who the best guy is there. Copy everything he does as a welder. If you're in sales, same thing. You go into your sales job. You start your first day. You find your realtor office. Say, which realtor is doing the best here? How are they doing it? Now, they might be doing it the way that they might be selling high-end commercial real estate, and you just can't do that. So then you're going to have to find who's the best residential home buyer real estate agent in this office. And they say, well, that is Susan. Susan's our number one real estate agent in this office. And you say, hey, Susan, my name is Bob, and I just started here, and I'd like some tips. And Susan's going to tell you to bugger off, all right, when you first start. After you've worked your butt off, after you've proven yourself, and you go up and say, hey, Susan, my name's Bob. We met earlier. I'd really appreciate just a word of wisdom or two, just to give me a couple of tips on what I should do. And she'll ramble off a couple of things, and you know what she's going to be thinking? She's going to be thinking that you're not even going to do it, right? And then you're going to go do it. And then you come back to Susan and say, yes, I tried that. That worked very well. This right here I tried, and I didn't have any success. Could you explain to me how I should do that so I can get more success? And Susan's going to be, what? She or he actually paid attention to what I said? That's so rare. Most times when you tell somebody, when you're a high-skilled employee or employer, when I was in high school, I was a boss of many employees, and they'd come up and ask for advice. I'd tell them what to do, and they'd just go off and not do it. So when you actually do what the advice that's given, they're going to, even if they gave you the wrong advice, even if they're pranking you, right? They're like, this person's not going to do it, so I'm just going to sit them around in circles. You actually go around in circles. You do the thing that's stupid. They're going to be like, hey, this person's trying. This person's putting in the effort. I need to stop screwing around and actually give them some real advice. They're going to give you the real advice. Eventually, you're going to get to that real advice because you're demonstrating on a day-to-day, and you're also demonstrating to everyone in your life, your parents, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband, your kids, whoever you need to demonstrate to that you're serious about making this a success. And that's the thing, is when you pick a direction, you make it happen. You make it work. If you're going to be a plumber, you make it work. All right? You say, here's my goal. My goal is to be a master plumber. My goal is to be a master welder. My goal is to be a master salesperson. My goal is to be a master roofing. I'm going to sell roofing. I'm going to drive my car, and eventually I'm going to drive my crappy car, and eventually I'm going to buy a nice truck, and I'm going to be in roofing sales, and I'm going to sell more roofs than anybody else. When there's a storm, I'm going to be out there working 24/7 selling roof, and I'm going to learn from the best, and I'm going to be the best. I'm going to work my way up. I'm going to start at the 20th guy in the company, and I'm going to go all the way to number 1. And it might take me 2 years. It might take me 3 years. But that's what's going to happen. And when you do that, I guarantee you're going to go to number 1. If you want it, you get it. That's how it works. Hard work, determination, effort, and constantly changing what you're doing so that you can get ahead in life. These are all the keys to success that you can use in any endeavor, but this is what a young person can do. And if you start off young enough, you start off right out of high school, you determine that, hey, I want to be the best at this, or I want to be the best at that. You're going to figure out a way to make it successful. And then if you live below your means, that's the second part. Number 1 part is get a high skill. Get that high pay coming in. Get that money coming in. Then second part is you've got to save money. You have to live below your means. A lot of 18, 19-year-olds, they go out, they get their fancy job sailing. Suddenly they're making $100,000 a year, and they spend all of it. They got the fancy apartment, they got the fancy car, they're showing off for everybody, but the car payment's taking half their paycheck, and the fancy place is taking the other half of their paycheck. At the end of the day, they got zero money left over. So that's the second part. The next part, after you've gotten your fancy job, after you've gotten your skill, and after you're making money, and now you're making that $100,000 a year or more, next part is you've got to save that money. All right, this saving the money. Then you have to start figuring out how you're going to invest it. The number 1 way you can invest it to begin with is buying your car outright. If you need a truck for work, buy that truck outright. So then that way you have if your payments were $500 a month for that truck. You needed that truck for roofing sales. Let's say you're in roofing sales. You're becoming the number 1 roofing sales. You're actually making progress. You got your little bit of income. You got your $50K. All right. You're still living at home, and you've got a crappy car. But now it's time to go out and buy a nice truck, a decent truck, not the best truck, not the most expensive, not a $100,000 truck, like a $25,000 truck. And you buy it on credit, and you immediately start paying that truck off. Get it paid off outright, because then guess what? Now you've got that $500 payment coming. Where does it go? You're not actually paying it anymore. You own it. So now you're making even more money. Every dollar that you make is more money. And then you start saving that money. And you can save up, and you can actually start your own roofing company, or you can start buying houses, or you can invest in the stock market. I would recommend that you would start your own roofing business. I have a friend of mine who did that exact same thing. He started a roofing business. The guy's a multi-millionaire. He's richer than I am. And if I had started in roofing way back when I started my computer company, I would be even richer than I am today by a long shot. If I had worked as hard as I did in the computer business as he did in the roofing business, and if I was in the roofing business and I worked as hard as I had worked in the computer business, I would be a I would be a rich millionaire by now. I worked so hard. I worked 80-hour weeks. I got to work. That's all I did was work. So I paid my dues in the computer business. But then that company, because of the market and the margins weren't high enough, I didn't make the huge amount. So you've got to pick something that's stable. Like real estate sales is stable. Roofing sales is something people always need. Just like plumbing. These are skills. These are things that if you go to college, exact same thing. You have to pick something that people are going to need. Always going to need engineers. Always going to need doctors. Always going to need lawyers. These are all solid things. They aren't smoke and mirrors. They aren't going to disappear next week. You've got to pick, and also you need to, when you pick these fields, you need to say, hey, there has to be someone making over 100K in whatever field. Don't pick anything that doesn't make over 100K. And every single thing that I've mentioned you can make 100K at. Period. So You want to succeed in life? The first step, know what you want, pick it, write it down, make some goals. Second step is make it happen. If you want to be rich, you want to be a millionaire, you want to grow your money, you've got to get that high skill, high paying job as soon as you can and start building your income, building your future. And if you're a young person, don't move out of your parents' house until you have your high skill. And then when you finally move out, make sure that you move into a safe but affordable place, not the most expensive place that you can afford. Live below your means. Always live below your means. That's why you don't move out of your parents' house. Even though everybody else is going to be like, hey, you still live with your mom, blah, 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 blah. Say, yeah, I live with my mom and I'm making $100,000 a year. Joke's on you. And I'm saving my money. I own my truck outright and I'm about to go buy my first house. What are you doing? Oh, you're living in an apartment you can't afford, driving a truck you can't afford, and you're living the high life. And you're wasting all your money on stuff that doesn't matter. So be smart with your money. Get the high paying job. Make sure you know what you want out of life. Make goals. Make goals, figure it out, make it happen. This is how you can get ahead. This is how you can become a millionaire in a short. Young people have the best opportunity to get anything they want out of life. They've just got to pick it and make it happen. Guys, I really appreciate you listening to this video. I hope everyone has great success, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.